Well, so there's an interesting point that I think a lot of people are going to start making as these events become more popular, is that there are going to be events that maybe wouldn't be the best for a particular person to take part in, right? Like you are allied with Ninetales, but not necessarily in the sense that you want to ruin a space station. You're just trying to
Yeah.
smuggle stuff. So in order to keep that alliance without obviously doing something that you don't want to do that'll get you into more trouble with locals, you maybe opt out of that. Obviously, right now that's not super realistic since we don't get to do this stuff much, but that's another really important point when it comes to these events in the future. Not everybody's going to get to do everyone, and I've never been in an MMO, so I don't know how these situations are generally handled. But that's something that does again make me excited about Star Citizen. It adds to the uniqueness of your story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the way that Star Citizen's handling it with MMO versus other MMOs is very. It's different. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's there's a lot of it that's similar, but there's a lot of it that is just straight up different because of things like lack of factions, of hard factions. You don't you're not like stuck into a faction, and I don't know. There's just a lot of varying factors with Star Citizen that feels more like an old MMO, like an Ultima Online or Star Wars Galaxies, than it does feel like a modern MMO. Which is why I think a lot of people are like, "Well, this doesn't feel like an MMO." It's like because it's not WoW. It's a different type of thing. So
See, I can't, like I said, first MMO, I can't really picture what that means. Is there a very obvious sign or
um,
something that shows that?
here's a good example of something that I want to see in Star Citizen. I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped playing WoW for a long time, and then I decided to pop in. I had no idea what was going on in the universe. I just popped back in for, after stop playing for a month. And when I popped back in, there's these giant floating ziggurats over every major city. And if you walked into the major cities, there were level 90 mobs just killing everybody. And I'm
Wow.
sitting there going, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm level 25. And I'm seeing these level 90 players just running past me into these mobs to go fight. And I was like, this feels like an event. This feels like
Mm-hmm.
there's an invasion going on. And I feel powerless because I don't have that, that power level yet. And I wasn't level
Yeah.
90, but whatever. It's a high level. And so those events in and WoW are usually telegraphed ahead of time. They usually do a big cinematic overview, and it's you have to be with both this faction or this faction. You can't be with you have to be with Horde or the Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
or you can be with
Yeah.
both. But then they do everything they can to keep the factions in place. Whereas with Star Citizen, they don't care. They'll destroy the UEE if they want to, just because it's good for a story. So there's
Yeah.
it's a different type of environment because the players can impact everything. It's not just a pre-planned event, and they also can they can just take their universe and say the sandbox is too bland. Let's just throw it up into the air and see what happens. And
They
that's much more old school Star Wars Galaxy style versus modern kind of more of a sandbox rather than a theme park. So
when you talk about that, I get super excited. But
I mean,
I want them to prove that. I have
yeah,
never been one to subscribe to the theory. But going by what you're saying, I would love to see a catastrophic event lead to the destruction of Port Olisar. Because
yes,
not just because that would be cool to see, but it would prove to me that CIG is willing to turn the game on its head to make for a good story, like you're saying. That is so refreshing. That is refreshing on the same level that it's refreshing how much time they're spending on all the small details and taking their time.
yeah. And I
That's
would say that the thing about that is, and I'll just real quick, is that that's what the lore is pointing towards. There is no good guy in Star Citizen. The UEE is
right.
framed as the good guy, but they're not good. They're not. They're just the necessary evil in many cases. And so if the Port Olisar was destroyed, it would feel like a natural event that happens in this universe where, you know, invasions are happening, you know, at random times by galactic interplanetary species that is just mowing everything down. Or everyone you talk to, anyone you talk to, could be politically motivated or financially motivated to screw you over the instant they want to. That's the universe they're building. So the destruction of Port Olisar, in my mind, is more like, that could happen just because it's the lore.
Yeah, normal thing.
Yeah. Not a super normal thing, but it's still
not like every day.
Yeah. We destroy stations every day, but yeah.
Another space station fell out of the sky. Too bad. No, it obviously can't be like craziness happening all the time, but I'm happy to hear that as somebody who pays a lot of attention to this stuff, you do see that happening, because that's nobody wants to play. Like, if we wanted to play in a boring world, we'd just keep doing what we're doing in real life. Like, we want to play something with that kind of exciting unpredictableness. And with all these games that are starting to get dynamic events that go, and these live events that go for everybody, Star Citizen is the perfect place for something like that. More so than another game where you're playing the same thing but outside of your ships, being able to be inside somebody else's ship and experience that stuff together. Like you were saying, you jumped into that server and there were level 90 people running past you, and I'm sitting here thinking, what if you jumped into a system and there were people with Idris and Polaris and javelins flying past you towards this massive battle? That's exactly what I signed up for.
Yeah, I am waiting for the time when CIG decides that the event is an eventual invasion of a border system, and players get to go help, because that madness, that pandemonium, that utter chaos is what I think most people are looking for.
It would be crazy.
Fly into a system and just see nothing but capital ships duking it out and fighters flying all the way around. That's the dream, but we'll see if they can get that done.
That is the dream. That is it.